The Lebanese liquidity crisis is an ongoing financial crisis affecting the Middle Eastern nation of Lebanon starting in August 2019. Lebanon's crisis was worsened by U.S. sanctions targeting Syria's government and Iran-backed Hezbollah. The COVID-19 pandemic in Lebanon, which began in 2020, and the Beirut port explosion further exacerbated the effects of this crisis. The Lebanese pound has been pegged to the US dollar at a rate of 1,507 Lebanese pounds and 50 piastres per USD since 1997. In August 2019, due to various financial hardships, especially the growing probability that the Lebanese government will default on maturing debt obligations, the black market exchange rate started diverging from the official exchange rate. In the fall of 2019, the black market exchange rate reached 1,600 Lebanese pounds per USD and increased to 3,000 Lebanese pounds per USD in April 2020 and 14,000 Lebanese pounds per USD in March 2021. The USD black market exchange rate continues to fluctuate substantially due to devaluation of the Lebanese pound caused by acute USD shortages within Lebanon. This dollar shortage also caused 785 restaurants and cafes to close between September 2019 and February 2020 and resulted in 25,000 employees losing their jobs. Consumer goods prices have increased by 58% since October, resulting from the worst economic crisis in decades. This economic crisis made Lebanon's gross domestic product fall to about 44 billion United States dollars from about 55 billion United States dollars the year before. The fall of the exchange rate caused the 2019 to 2021 Lebanese protests, which ultimately resulted in the resignation of the Prime Minister and his cabinet. After the resignation occurred, the COVID-19 pandemic forced additional businesses to close their doors and to lay off their employees. Prime Minister Hassan Diab stated that the country would default on its Eurobond debt and seek out restructuring agreements amid a spiraling financial crisis that has affected foreign currency reserves. Lebanon was due to pay a 1.2 billion United States dollars Eurobond on the 9th of March, with another 700 million United States dollars expected to mature in April and a further 600 million United States dollars in June. Due to the lack of foreign currencies, the Prime Minister said that the reserves had fallen to a worrying and dangerous level, which pushes the Lebanese government to suspend payment of the 9th of March Eurobond maturity because of a need for these funds. The head of research at Bank Audi stated that Lebanese banks own 12.7 billion USD of the country's outstanding 30 billion United States dollars Eurobonds as of January. The central bank held 5.7 billion United States dollars and the remainder was owned by foreign creditors. The debt-to-GDP ratio sits now at 170%. The default is the first one in the history of the country. Foreign currency inflows have slowed and Lebanon's pound has dropped in value compared to the dollar and other currencies. The nation's commercial banks have imposed tough restrictions on dollar withdrawals and transfers to maintain reserves. Due to this, Lebanon's sovereign debt became junk-rated. The Lebanese pound was pegged at around 1,500 per $1 United States dollar. Since October 2019, it has dropped to a third of this value, reaching 4,500 per $1 United States dollar on black markets on the 28th of April 2020. 2 weeks before that, the currency sat at around 3,000 to $1 United States dollar. Official valuations are different from the ones on the black market. One bank allowed depositors to withdraw Lebanese pounds from their dollar account at 2,000 to $1 United States dollar. This caused significant anger towards the banks. The Prime Minister has sharply criticized the governor of the central bank Riyad Salamah over its performance. The shortage of US dollars, which are used in everyday transactions in Lebanon, and the crash in the value of the pound have undercut the country's ability to pay for imports, including essentials such as wheat and oil. Banks have stopped giving short-term loans to businesses and no longer provide them with US dollars for imports, forcing people to turn to the black markets. There is also significant inflation, which caused a massive loss of purchasing power and an increase in poverty. The price of fowl or full, a fava bean common in the region, was up 55% in March over a year earlier, Sugar has seen an increase of 67%, while wheat, tea, rice, and cigarettes have all gone up nearly 50% over the same period. This liquidity crisis also created a barrier to every single person who had accounts in Lebanese banks, as they are unable to access their deposits. Not only are they unable to access their deposits, but they are unable to withdraw any USD directly. They can withdraw them in the national currency. These depositors needed to preserve the value of their savings, especially following press reports about possible haircuts and restructuring of the banking sector. They therefore turned to buying real estate. For example, revenues from land sales of the major real estate developer, Solidia Company, soared from nearly $1.3 million to $234.5 million. Also, these depositors turned to buying shares in Solidia Company, which Lee